There was a time not so long ago when roads weren't much of a problem. You just went where you could, when you could, the best you could. We can give Henry Ford the credit or the blame for starting this whole ghastly highway problem just 2 years after Oklahoma entered statehood, when he put together his first T-Bird, his first 1909 model T-Bird. That year, Ford's backyard factory sold 1,700 of the putt-putt horseless carriages, and they quickly became the talk of the nation. Before long, Ford had started making his Model Ts on the assembly line basis and selling them all over the nation for $390 each. It was then that the really big puzzle began to rear its ugly head. Where can you drive the pesky critters? From that time on, highway engineers, road builders, and politicians have been running a frantic battle, usually a losing battle, trying to keep ahead of those pesky critters that now bind our nation together in one constant stream of traffic. Immediately after World War II, there were 17 million automobiles on the nation's highways and roads, and the number has been increasing at the rate of 6 million a year, until we now have about 130 million cars about to choke us to death on our inadequate roads. Our millions of trucks and buses will soon finish the job unless we begin very soon to win a few of these battles of the highways, a war here in Oklahoma that presently finds us 20 years behind the battle line. There's an old nursery rhyme that might adequately describe our present highway, road, and street problem. There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children she didn't know what to do. Today, Oklahoma has so many road problems she hardly knows what to do. And sometimes it all looks rather hopeless. For example, during the fiscal year 1966, the State Highway Commission has budgeted not more money, but at least $10 million less money than they have been spending at the present time. At the recent dedication of the Jim Cook Highway, State Road number 9 at Wilburton, State Highway Director Frank Lyons summed up the multiplex highway problem this way.
I don't know what the why is, and I don't know exactly how. I do feel that on the road situation, perhaps on the teacher situation too, that it appears at times hopeless to all of us. But it isn't. You can look around here today in country like this. We can stand up on the back of a truck and ask you for your patience as we spout off. There must be a way to work this stuff out.
The question is, do the people of Oklahoma really want better roads, highways, and streets? We keep complaining about bad roads, bad city streets, bad highways. We ask, we demand, why don't the legislature, the governor, our county commissioners, the mayor, the city manager, why don't they give us better roads and streets? Here's Frank Lyons' blunt answer to this.
And we appreciate that very much. No public official gives anything. He might direct it, he might administer it, but he doesn't give a thing. He doesn't have anything to give except himself. He only gives what you all want. Sometimes we put our head in the sand and we say we want one thing and then we don't really go after it. We talk again of Texas or the other states who have large highway systems. We can beat them all to pieces and do it easily if we really want to. I hope we do.
But do we really? Or are we just sticking our collective heads in the sand today when we moan and complain about our streets and highways, about our extremely large traffic fatality rates, and insist that our roads must be safer and kept in better condition? New and better roads, properly maintained, and safe streets and highways, they cost a lot of money, very much money. And money today, where roads are concerned, means more taxes. We found practically no one who disagreed with this premise. There just simply isn't enough money today to tackle our huge road problems. We're too far behind. We've put too many patches on the seat of our highway trousers in our attempt to avoid buying a new pair of pants. So the question remains, Are we ready now to go after an improved road program? Is our desire strong enough to make us reach for our tax billfold? We talked with Clarence Redden out at Cheyenne in the western part of the state in Roger Mills County. Clarence is president of the County Commissioners Association of Oklahoma and, as such, keeps a pretty close touch on the pulse of the people's thinking. Clarence told us this concerning new taxes for the road program.
Well, I'm not sure that they're ready to accept any tax increase, is my opinion. We have about all the gasoline tax that, in my opinion, that we can stand in this state in comparison with states around us.
Most persons from the general public with whom we talked during the preparation of this program told us approximately the same thing. Many added that they were so confused about the entire road program that they didn't know what to vote for anyway. But they aren't alone in their confusion. So are many of our government officials. There's so much divided responsibility and authority today on who is supposed to do what and who is doing what and who's spending how much on what and where does he get the money, that like the old woman who lived in the shoe, neither the state, county, nor city sometimes knows quite what to do. Because of this confusing jigsaw road puzzle, the legislature in 1962 authorized a $500,000 needs and fiscal study of our entire highway program in an attempt to bring some semblance of order and clarity out of all of this confusion. This revolutionary attack on the state's highway problems was the first ever attempted in the United States that covered the state's entire road system network involving the state and the counties and the cities. Representative Bill Skeeth of McAllister, chairman of the Legislative Council's Committee on Roads and Highways, summed up the findings of the study this way.
The estimate of the engineers, we're running some 20 years behind what we should be at this point. And the thing that was mostly uncovered that was so astonishing, I'm sure, to all the citizenry in the cost of catching up, some $5 billion plus, will be that if we do not begin to make gains at the present time, there's no question but what we'll continue to fall further and further behind, and that figure will just gain.
For the story of the state legislature's needs and fiscal study, here is Ward Andrews.
The highway study started 16 months ago. The needs section of the report was conducted by the firm of Roy Jorgensen and Associates of Maryland, while the fiscal study was made by Wilbur Smith and Associates of Connecticut. Out-of-state firms were employed by the Legislative Committee, so there could be no accusation of bias. We caught up with Donald Park of the Jorgensen Company while he was on a road inspection tour near Lawton. We asked Mr. Park just how much it would cost each year if we attempted to bring our entire highway and road system up to adequate rating during the next 18 years.
And on this basis, keeping in mind this target date of 1982 for adequate highways in Oklahoma, it would require an annual expenditure for everything, construction, maintenance, administration, of $308.6 million a year. Of this, around $158 million would be for state highways, around $80 million for county roads, and around $70 million for city streets.
We're spending less than one-half of this amount on our road system in Oklahoma at the present time. We talked with Mr. Park about the relationship between a good highway system and a state's growth and prosperity.
Which we must look forward to.
In your experience, Don, does an adequate highway system have much effect on a state's growth and prosperity?
I think it's generally conceded that this is true. Industry, I think, is certainly reliable upon good, efficient highway transportation. Certainly tourism is attracted by good highways. This undoubtedly is important.
We asked Charles Monroe, acting director of the State Planning and Resources Board from Perry, if he thought the recent improvement in the state park roads had helped the tourism business in Oklahoma.
I think very definitely. For instance, Fort Cobb, one of our newest parks on Fort Cobb Reservoir, has enjoyed tremendous usage, nearly doubling attendance this year, and I think it's a lot of that is attributable to the roads that we got built within the park in the past year.
County Commissioner President Clarence Redden at Cheyenne agreed that good roads did indeed help the tourist industry and all industry. He pointed out that improved roads helped bring 1,000 out-of-state fishermen last summer to the many lakes in Roger Mills County where he resides. Mr. Redden had a word of caution, however, about Oklahoma becoming so concerned with new industry and roads related to it that she might forget her #1 basic industry, agriculture. Good farm-to-market roads, Mr. Redden pointed out, are a must if agriculture is to keep pace with the fast-moving modern world. In his own county, for example, is one of the top 2 dairy-producing counties in the state. Milk is a product that demands rapid transportation on good all-year-around roads. Mr. Redden put it this way.
The basic industry in that state is agriculture. I think we need to first help look after what we already have. And then, with the cooperation of the rural people and the metropolitan area, all working together, we'll be able to bring industry into this state. And I don't think until we have that, stop this bickering over who shall get what and this and that we will ever be very successful in bringing the industry into this state. But with all of us working together, I think that we can fill this state with industry.
Clarence, do you think there's too much bickering between state and county on this highway program?
There has been way too much in years past. Now, while Mr. Lyons has been state highway director, the counties and the highway department are working together and cooperating in a nice manner, in my opinion. And they realize, and he realizes, that the counties in this state have a problem of having the money that they need to keep up the 83,000 miles of school bus and mail routes in this state.
The legislative study has recommended that some 1,200 miles of state roads be turned back to the counties for maintenance and supervision. Most county commissioners with whom we talked took a dim view of this suggestion, adding that the state roads were in such poor state of repair the counties did not want them and could not afford to bring them up to adequate condition. Jimmy Weaver of Bristow, a county commissioner in Creek County, had this observation.
Well, the state in some instance has done a remarkable job, but I still feel like that the big waste in government is in the state highway department, speaking frankly.
Jimmy, how many miles of county roads do you have in your district in Creek County?
Well, approximately 700.
How many does the state have?
In the entire county, they have approximately 300, give or take a little.
What do you find about road construction as far as costs go in your county?
Actually, many times we can go out and lay a stretch of blacktop road cheaper entirely on county funds than we could do if we had state and federal participation, because the cost is so high to come up to their standards on that.
An opposite view was taken by newly elected Oklahoma County Commissioner J.P. Dick Richardson, formerly the Superintendent of Public Works in Oklahoma City.
Dick, what's the biggest problem the counties face today in the maintenance and construction of their highway system?
Well, Harlan, I think it's due to lack of funds, and these funds could be made available to the counties on their secondary road system if they would ask for it. It's there for asking, and they're not using it.
Why are they not asking for it, Dick?
Well, I don't think they want the state highway department to be part of their program. It's more or less, it might be a little selfish on the commissioner's part. They don't, their own little empire broken down.
It was a relief, if somewhat of a shock, to hear there actually was some road money available, money that wasn't even being touched. Mr. Richardson had another suggestion to improve the state-county road problem.
Dick, what relationship do you think should exist between the county and the state on this highway program?
Well, I definitely feel that the state should be the coordinator of all the your counties and state highway system.
Dick, why do you feel it would be better to have the state supervise all the county roads?
Well, the state have the highway engineering department already established, and I feel that we can come up with a much more efficient road program with the state being the coordinator of the road system.
This suggestion of Mr. Richardson's, however, was put to a vote of the general public 4 years ago and was defeated by about 180,000 votes. The system of major trunk-line highways proposed by the legislative study is already well underway. Heaviest traveled highway in Oklahoma is Old US 66, running east-west through Tulsa, Oklahoma City, and Elk City. This is now Interstate 44 from Oklahoma City east and Interstate 40 from Oklahoma City west. It's now about 95% completed. The second largest traffic carrier is the old north-south US 77 route, renamed Interstate 35, now 70% completed. Number 3 in terms of travel is US 81 from Kansas through Enid and Chickasha and into Texas. Number 4 is US 69 through Muskogee and McAllister and into Texas via Durant. Number 5 is a zigzag route from Oklahoma City east of Fort Smith, Arkansas, which when completed will be the eastern half of Interstate 40. In plotting the recommended trunk line system of state highways, the need study began with the base of the present interstate highways, Interstates 40, 35, and 44, about 800 miles of roadways. To this base, they then added 1,800 miles of trunk line routes, about 500 miles of which will be designated as interstate highways, thus receiving 90-10 federal aid. When such a system becomes an actuality, no part of the state will be farther than 50 miles from a major trunk line highway. It's a dream, a blueprint, as Representative Skeeth said earlier, but it's a dream that must come true if Oklahoma is to keep on the shooting star she launched 15 years ago after losing population for 20 years. To show what should be done in the county range of responsibility, the needs study uses the Garfield County area as an example. This map shows the existing state highways used as a base for the needed program. To these highways would be added these county primary roads, sometimes referred to as farm-to-market roads. These would be grade A, standard, hard-surfaced roadways. The city streets, they're the big problem, the orphan of the highway network. Traditionally, Oklahoma was considered a rural state, but during the past 20 years, 40% of the population has shifted to the urban areas. What to do with this influx and how to get streets for them to safely run their cars over and time signal lights to keep the traffic flowing, those are the big problems the cities face today. There is pitifully little relief, very few ways for a city to raise revenue to care for its mounting transportation problems. 73% of the streets inadequate and no improvement in sight. It's almost an impossible situation under present statutes for the cities having a population of 2,500 or more. The needs study, however, outlines what should be done. Here, Oklahoma City is used as an example to show needed arterial streets which would provide general citywide service. The same would apply to smaller cities. These arterial streets would lead to state highways, interstate highways, and freeways, as shown in this illustration. This plan would move city traffic quickly, efficiently, and safely, the requirement of any adequate road or highway. The problem is so big, the revenue so short, and we're so far behind that at times, as Frank Lyons said earlier, it looks like an impossible task to keep moving forward in the momentum we've built during the past 15 years. But no problem is ever solved by saying it's impossible, as Mr. Lyons said. There must be a way. To solve this problem, we must start somewhere. So let's take a look at where our most inadequate state highways are. The needs study points these out. In the worst condition of all are the roads in the Bartlesville-Ponca City area in Washington, Osage, Pawnee, Noble, and Kay counties. Next comes the state highways west of McAllister, extending to the Ada area in Pontotoc County, where the needs study suggests returning 65 miles of state roads to county supervision. The third most inadequate road system is located northeast of Tulsa in the Grand Lake area in Delaware, Ottawa, Craig, and Mayes counties. And fourth is the road network in the area between Lawton and Chickasha in Caddo and Grady counties. If we make any real attempt just in these areas to start bringing our highway system up to adequate, it's going to take a lot more money than is now available. And Keith Cartwright, Executive Vice President of the Oklahoma Good Roads and Streets Association, spells out very plainly just what that means.
The only way that you can get new money into the state coffers is by taxation. No matter what politician or what group tells you that we've got an easy way to get something for nothing, they're wrong. As I said a while ago, our overall increase in state government will not take care of the needs of the agencies that I'm sure is in need of money. For example, education, mental health, and roads and highways in this state.
And what about our cities with 73% of their streets inadequate? How do they plan to start solving their problems? We got the answer from J.B. Davidson, City Manager of Ada and Vice President of the Oklahoma Municipal League, an organization of cities within the state.
Well, there is two things. There's two bills that we're going to have introduced in this session of the legislature. One is giving the cities more of the actual gasoline and road user tax for maintenance of city streets. And of course the other bill is a bill giving the cities, the local government authority to levy city taxes in various areas.
William E. Hedges, Director of Public Works in Oklahoma City, came to his present job a little over a year ago from Springfield, Missouri. Like Mr. Davidson, he too believes the cities face an impossible task in trying to improve their streets until they find some way of raising additional revenue. He had this to say about the causes of inadequate streets.
I personally feel the main reason is that the cities lack adequate financing to do a proper job of construction and maintenance of their streets.
In other words, there's just plain not enough money to do it properly.
That's right.
Will it improve much, do you think, until we have more money?
I don't see how it can improve a great deal, no, until other funds are found in order to be able to do the work.
James Koval is employed by the firm of Wilbur Smith and Associates in New Haven, Connecticut, the company doing the fiscal part of the highway needs study. Mr. Koval told us his company was recommending, as a method of raising new tax revenues for the streets and highways, $15 registration fees on cars and a similar $10 fee on trucks. This would be in addition to the car license tag fee, which does not go for the use of highways. They also suggest a 10% increase in commercial vehicle registration fees, a 1-cent gasoline tax increase, and an additional 2-cent tax on diesel and butane fuels. Then Mr. Koval told us how he thought the money should be distributed.
Well, we're recommending to facilitate this dispersion of funds and also making sure they get where they ought to be, and the general fund be established at the state level, which would receive all highway user taxes. And from this fund, we would get the distribution to each of the systems in the amount of 78% to the state highway system, 13% to the county, and 9% to the cities. We feel like these are the proper proportions for highway user revenues.
Governor Henry Bellman has made it very clear that he is against any tax increase. Instead, he has recommended a $300 million road bond issue and a series of new toll roads totaling 300 miles to help ease the highway problem. Here are his suggestions.
I have written a letter to the chairman of the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority, Mr. Marvin Millard of Tulsa, suggesting that the Turnpike Authority ask the State Highway Department for funds to conduct a feasibility study on 5 additional routes. These routes include roads from Tulsa to Broken Arrow to Muskogee and on to I-40 near Weber's Falls. Also a route from Tulsa past Sand Springs over to I-35 somewhere south of the Kansas line. also a road inside the Oklahoma City limits to handle some of the most congested traffic in this city. Another route that's proposed is from Davis past the Ada area and on to Henrietta, and there is an additional route which would go from McAllister on to Hugo, which is Section B of the Eastern Turnpike. Now, if these roads should prove to be feasible, 4 of them would require legislative authorization before they could be financed and built. Section B of the Eastern Turnpike has already been authorized, and so all that's required there is a feasibility report showing that it would pay out.
Once again, here's Harlan.
What are the possibilities, what are the probabilities that our highway program will now start moving ahead, trying to overcome our past ineptness, instead of allowing the arteries of our economic life to continue to harden and decay? State Highway Director Frank Lyons summed it up this way.
That it's our hope that in the present situation with the educational program, the highway program, mental health, higher education that you're seeing shaping up, that we all do move ahead together. I think we can. I hope we do. And the other thing that I do not want to see, I'm only appointed official working with these people for them, is this, that if we hang it on the legislature and expect them to create a miracle here, then we're asking too much. We'll have to decide as a people what we're going to do and see if we can do it, and see if we can talk to the governor, to the legislature, and help them. We can't send them up there and let them just wrangle it out without any hope of help from all of us, every last one of us. And I want to see us, if we possibly can, move ahead together. Maybe we can and maybe we can't.
We've had so many requests, especially from teachers, high school, and college students, asking for copies of scripts of the Oklahoma USA documentaries, that we have decided to make copies available free of charge to the first 50 requests we receive. So if you desire a copy of the Oklahoma USA scripts, just write to us, Oklahoma USA, KWTV, Oklahoma City. But please remember that we can fulfill only the first 50 requests. So write early, okay? Oklahoma USA will be aired during the month of, not be aired during the month of December because of the Christmas holidays, but on January 20th, our monthly documentary, we'll deal with the explosive teacher situation in our state. It's called Our Teachers, the New Image. Until then, on behalf of the staff of Oklahoma USA, good night.